morning, peasants. Dear gentle watcher, my name is Princess Desqueeky, and today I'm gonna be ranking Disney princesses because I want to and I have nothing better to do. I am going to be ranking the OG Disney princesses. Let's begin. Coming in 7th place, the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of the pack, the ghetto, Ariel. Now, I am filming this video as if my viewers have some sort of knowledge of the original movies, but if you don't, Aurora is a mermaid who lives under the ocean and she's just kind of bored with her life, so she wants to go up to the human world, and so she collects all these human artifacts. But like, the problem that I have with Ariel is not her apparent fascination with the human world. Like, I get it, she likes to travel, she wants to explore. I also enjoy that. I moved around every 2 years ever since I was born, and that was like an amazing experience for me. Highly recommend it. But what I don't understand is that after saving the prince's life, she somehow convinces herself that she has fallen in love with him and decides to trade her voice for human legs so that she can go up to meet this guy. First of all, what is the sense? Like, you barely know this guy. Crushes do happen, like I do get that. I'm not gonna lie, I recently got a crush on the live action Prince Ariel, and I've been just singing Wild Uncharted Waters ever since. So yeah, I get that. But she has no clue what this guy is really like, and usually with crushes, once the dopamine has like worn off, all you're left with is disappointment. So she's really lucky that Prince Ariel was a nice guy and not a total creep. And to make things worse, I feel like Ariel is basically telling you to give up something for a man. It's also giving, it's okay if I can't talk to a man, I'll just use my beauty to lure him in 3 days. If there's anything that I admire about Ariel, it's this girl's self-confidence.
Don't underestimate the importance of body language.
Anyways, because of what happens, all of Ariel's like fascination with exploration and with travel, to me it was just diminished to her appearing like this spoiled little brat who only cares about herself, who doesn't take into consideration that those around her are trying to protect her. Everything that happened was due to Ariel's choice. There weren't any external forces really that contributed to the situation that she found herself in. Sis went looking for trouble. Legit, I feel like 7 is too high of a rank for her. If I could go lower, I would. In 6th place, we have Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. Now trust me, the gap between Aurora and Ariel is big. But there are several reasons why I gave Aurora this particular ranking. Basically, Sleeping Beauty is born into a series of unfortunate events. And an evil fairy named Maleficent places a curse on her as a baby, which basically states that when she's 16 years old, she's gonna prick her finger on a spinning wheel and die. But there's no need to fret, because her kind fairy godmother sort of reverses that spell so that rather than dying when Sleeping Beauty pricks her finger, she just falls into a deep eternal sleep, only to be awoken by true love's kiss, whatever that nonsense is. So unfortunately though, as a result of this situation, everybody in the kingdom is paranoid and they banish spinning wheels from the kingdom, and in a way Sleeping Beauty is also banished from the kingdom for her sake, to protect her. But she grows up away from her family and no one really explains to her why she's being kept away. So to be honest, if she were angry and upset, like, I completely really understand her. But you know what doesn't make sense? Aurora falls in love with a guy that she met in a forest after talking to him for like 10 minutes, who actually ends up being the prince, by the way. Wow, you wouldn't say. But like the fact that she can fall in love with a guy that she barely knows and invite this creep to her house? The sense. Literally, I think it was the lack of sense that allowed her to be lured by Maleficent to get her finger pricked by a spinning wheel in the first place. Like, if this girl had sense, despite the curse, perhaps this wouldn't have happened. Anyway, besides this girl's complete lack of stranger danger, which I cannot make any amends for whatsoever, she also sleeps for like 50% of the movie. She's only awoken by the prince's kiss. Like, the prince literally saves her. So what did this girl really do? The girl may seriously need lessons on stranger danger, but I have to admit there were external circumstances that led her to being in that situation, and like whatever Ariel's nonsense was. 5 golden rings. In 5th place, we have Snow White. Now, similar to Aurora, Snow White has also had her fair share of difficulties. She lives with a stepmother who hates her and is so obsessed with her own beauty and looking more beautiful than her daughter that she's willing to kill for it. She literally hired a hitman to kill her stepdaughter. This situation causes Snow to run away from her house at a young age. Talk about a tough life. However, this girl has no sense of stranger danger, just like Aurora. Snow enters a forest after running away from her stepmother and meets this guy who, again, she falls in love with after 10 minutes. Sound familiar? And she also gets lured into doing something. In this case, it's into eating a poisoned apple. But at least with Aurora, it was actually prophesied that this would happen, so like I can give her the benefit of the doubt. But Snow could have easily avoided this. If a weird stranger gives you food, why would you eat it? And to make matters worse, Snow ends up living with 7 guys. 7 short guys. I'm sorry. Hashtag short kings. And Snow also trespasses on someone else's land. Like, imagine if somebody came into your house, cleaned it up, and cooked for you. Snow also sleeps for like 50% of the movie, only to be awoken by true love's kiss. So again, she really did not do much in this movie. The reason why I placed her higher than Aurora is simply because I felt bad for her given her circumstances, and also some of the dumb stuff that Snow did. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt because, like, when you're on the run because somebody's trying to murder you, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be thinking in the most logical way. But at the same time, you would think that based on that situation, Snow would have a little bit better sense of stranger dangers. Guys, do you like my wand? Look. Anyways, in 4th place, we have Princess Jasmine. So to be very honest, I did not really know where to place Princess Jasmine because she's okay. She's a chill Disney princess. I like her. But she was just kind of there. Upon reflecting and kind of rewatching the movie, I actually started to admire Jasmine for the strong and independent woman that she is. So firstly, Jasmine is required to get married by law and she has no say in the matter because she is a woman. And secondly, she's around this creep Jafar who's like 3 times her age and wants to marry her. So she's in a pretty uncomfortable situation as a woman that she can't get out of. What I like about Jasmine is that she was not moved by materialistic means. So for example, she met Aladdin while he was technically a street rat, and she really liked him. She began to fall in love with this guy. But when Aladdin shows up, after he kind of dresses up as a prince through the help of his genie, and he brings all like these gifts and like showers her with like money and jewels and things, she's very, very unimpressed. Kind of showed that she's a woman that you have to like fight for. She doesn't rely on a man, and she wants to be included in these conversations that determine her own future. A lot of other Disney princess movies have the focus on the woman, but Aladdin was different, so we really didn't get to see Jasmine as much in her element. I feel like maybe we should have a spin-off movie about Jasmine, and then it would be a lot easier to place her. But because of that, that's why I gave her the ranking of 4th place, and that's actually not a bad ranking. It's a pretty high one. I just felt like some of the individuals that I ranked higher just brought a little bit more to the table because they were the main character. So I just thought of something. So you know what comes next after 5 golden rings and 4 turtle doves? 3 French hens. I'm sure with that you guys probably know which Disney princess I'm gonna talk about next. Belle. Now Belle is not accepted in her poor provincial town. She's seen as an outcast, she's odd, she's eccentric, she's a definition of not like the other girls. And would you believe that she reads books? The horror! Now Belle really longs for adventure. She's tired of her town filled with like-minded, simple-minded individuals like Gaston, who doesn't seem to understand that she does not like him and has nothing else to offer him except for his muscles. Belle also has a super close relationship with her father, who is an inventor and who's a little bit odd and eccentric himself. And one day he goes out somewhere, I don't even know where, to showcase his inventions, but then he gets lost. And Belle tries to find him, just to realize that he's been captured and taken prisoner by a horrible beast in a castle outside that town. So once she learns of this, Belle decides to exchange places with her father, becoming the beast's prisoner forever, a lifetime, eternity. Like, this is actually a very, very tricky situation to be in. It shows a real type of familial love in a situation where you have to live with a total stranger who is prone to serious bipolar mood swings. Now, through her stay here, her and the beast admittedly do get off to a sort of a rocky start, but after a while, Belle is able to see past his facade, and she soon realizes that he's a really sweet and kind person under all that fur. And she also falls in love with him despite the fact that he's not very attractive. And like, I know we all love to say that like, looks don't matter to me, I only care about personality, but we live in a very superficial society, okay? Like, we all have elements of the beast inside of us, and that ugly disposition is something that Belle was able to ignore. That's what makes her so admirable. She was able to see the beast's inner beauty before she saw his external appearance. You know, maybe her love of books taught her not to judge a book by its cover. No offense though, but like, I preferred a beast to whatever this guy was. Like, please, the way I pretended this transformation scene never existed, and I will continue to do so until this very day. I also really like that in comparison to the other Disney princesses, Belle and the beast fell in love relatively slowly over time. It was kind of that enemies to lovers too that we all know and love, rather than the whole I fell in love in 10 minutes with this random stranger creep in the forest. Belle is also admirable because she continues her interest, like her love for adventure, her love for books never falters throughout the whole film. Despite being kept in isolation, despite being in that type of circumstance, she stays true to who she is as an individual. She doesn't change for anybody. I love that about her, truly. We are down to second place, guys. How on earth did we get here? Now this one was tough, because when I say that a lot of these Disney princesses had some incredible qualities, but in second place, I have to give it to my girl, Cinderella. So hold on. Before you say that there's so many other girls that deserve better recognition than Cinderella What's-Her-Face, let me explain. I gave Cinderella a high ranking because I feel like her character is the most commonly misunderstood. Firstly, Cinderella's parents both die when she's relatively young. That is traumatic for any individual to experience being an orphan at such a young age. And to make matters worse, her stepmother that her father remarried prior to his death treats her terribly alongside her stepsisters and that cat. She's even mistreated by a cat. Somebody who is supposed to be your family, you treat no better than a servant who puts on your slippers. I think people forget that family is so instrumental in how you see yourself and the world. They can help to build you up. They can also break you down. And I feel like a lot of people could easily say, well, why doesn't Cinderella just leave then? Cinderella did not have the financial means. If she was thrown out of onto the street, she would have been homeless. If she uttered a word of complaint, they would have made her life even worse than it already was. So Cinderella was smart in just doing her work well without lashing out. And also, you have to think about the time period they were in. Being a woman in that society alone would have been incredibly rough. So to be honest, the circumstances she was in are kind of this, like, it was a hand in life that she was dealt. Very unfortunate, but it wasn't one that she could get out of at that specific point. And tying into this, Cinderella may have harbored a lot of deep resentment for her father after he died, because she was now left in this toxic situation by herself. And so she could have thought like, oh my goodness, if only my father chose not to remarry this woman. But what I love and admire so much about Cinderella is that she remained kind and understanding despite her situation. And it takes an incredible amount of strength to remain kind and warm to people when you're going through such hardship. I don't think you guys hear me. People were undermining her worth. They were calling her no better than Cinders in the fireplace. That's where her name Cinderella came from. She chose not to internalize those things. You know, she truly teaches us that nobody can make us feel inferior without our consent, and also that you may not be able to control what others say about you, but you can control the thoughts you let in and how you view yourself. A lot of people are under this impression that Cinderella just sat under this rusty fireplace waiting for somebody to come and set her feet. No. Cinderella did not in fact do that. She got the chance to go to the ball. She just happened to meet the prince, okay? Her prince just happened to cross paths with her. They fell in love. Good for her. Honestly, the girl deserves it. And she deserved that night out after slaving away and being somebody's servant for years. Like, I don't think we should fault her in that. I am very happy. If I heard about someone who had a terrible life and she's just so happened to marry this rich, kind prince, like, I'd be very, very happy for her. We should be happy that she was able to get out of that toxic environment for sure, but it was not because of the prince. I do not think that we should undermine her efforts or her strength and the beauty of her character at all. We are now in first place. I'm so happy to be here. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video so far, and if you did, leave a comment because I want to see if you have agreed with some of my rankings so far. Alright, so in first place we have, drum roll please, Mulan! It is my girl Mulan. Now this girl is deserving of first place. I absolutely love her and she is a queen and deserves this title. Now, similar to Belle, Mulan was also an outcast in his society. She did not really fit in. You know, she was given that cliche, I'm not like the other girls. She's not so confident in her strengths. She doesn't see herself as beautiful. I don't mean like just in the physical sense, but like character-wise. She really wants to achieve a lot, but she just does not know how to bring honor to her family and how to live a life that she's proud of. Her father is very influential in this story because her father is always there to tell her like, you're an amazing person, you're gonna achieve so much, but also recognize who you are now. So basically the whole premise, the plot of the story is that China is being invaded by the Huns, and so the Imperial Chinese army is drafting one man from every household to serve. And would you believe it, in Mulan's family there's only one man, her father, who has already served in the army and who is in no condition whatsoever to be fighting against these Huns. So Mulan decides to sneak out of the house, steal her father's armor, dresses up as a boy to serve in her father's place. At first, Mulan really struggles in the army. She's never fought before, and also she kind of grossly overdoes it in trying to like make it known that she's a man.
I mean, sorry you had to see that, but you know how it is when you get those manly urges and you just gotta kill something. Fix things, cook outdoors.
But over time, Mulan is able to turn things around and she becomes one of the greatest soldiers in the Imperial Army, saving China from the Huns on 2 different occasions and becoming one of the greatest heroes in China. I think that in comparison to the other characters, the reason why I placed Mulan so highly, the reason why she's worthy of first place is because everything that she did not only helped herself, but she was also able to save and influence so many people. So there are multiple lessons that we can learn from Mulan. First being, Mulan was definitely a late bloomer. She was scorned and unaccepted by those in the society around her, but she ended up being one of China's greatest heroes of all time. And I think that what the story teaches us is not to undermine our worth and potential, no matter how our lives may look like at the moment or what people around us say about us. Mulan was also able to greatly defy a lot of stereotypes about women at the time. She really changed the roles and expectations of what a woman was and what they could do by the end of the story. And you can see that more in the second Mulan film, where a lot of the young girls want to become like a fighter or warrior like Mulan. It's broadening the expectations of what life can have for them. And I love that Mulan was able to kind of be the pioneer in that. And then lastly, familial love was also a really important element of Mulan. Mulan gave up her safety and her comfort to go fight in an army just because, you know, she wanted to save her father. She also went because she, you know, wanted to find herself, but this was punishable by death, impersonating a soldier. And so I really admire the courage Mulan had in deciding to fight and to go out despite knowing what might happen to her, despite knowing what her fate may be. I feel like that's something that we can learn about in life, but that sometimes we have to take a leap even when we're uncertain about what the future may hold. It's really about discovering one's own worth outside of the traditional path that society has dictated. Mulan, seriously, you go girl. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope that you enjoyed my ranking. If you didn't, that's okay. Now I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. Where would you rank the OG Disney princesses? Did you agree with mine? Would you have changed it up somewhere? I'm super interested to know. Also, I post a new video every single week, so if you're interested, hit that subscribe button now so you'll be notified every single week. Now Princess Desqueeky has to get her beauty sleep. Once again, goodbye peasants. Bippity boppity.